Okay, now as you can see, I have my little workup here, my little matrix, if you want to call it that. So I have finished my second row. I have done the 4 double crochets all the way to the end. You make sure you get your last double crochet, your 4th double crochet into that chain 3 that begins the previous row. Okay, so then what we'll work on in this row is actually to fill in a couple squares. So since this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 empty squares along the edging along the from top to bottom. See, working top to bottom. We'll fill in the middle 2, and then we'll kind of do a little pattern, which I will also post a picture of later in this blog post so that you can finish it out attempting to read the pattern. Now, when you're reading a pattern, and we'll discuss more about this later, when you are reading a pattern for doing these name doilies, which I will suggest that you draw out ahead of time the whole name so that it makes you a lot less likely to have errors and have to undo what you've done to go back and fix it. Each I use grid paper, and each little X on the grid paper in a box means that you will fill in this entire square. And in this next row, we will discuss how to do that. So again, beginning this new row, you're going to chain 3. Turn your work around, and then begin your double crochets, skipping that first stitch because that your chain 3 counts as that one, and going into that second one. So then you're going to double crochet. You're going to do your 4 just like always because that's your top and bottom border. And then you're going to do your empty squares. So like I discussed, we're just going to do 2 filled in squares in the middle of this. So I'm going to have 3 empty squares before I get to those. So you're going to do your chain 2. Woo! Getting ahead of myself. Your chain 2, your double crochet into your previous double crochet. Okay. I apologize for, it's very tricky. I did not realize how tricky it was to not watch this, watch my hands and keep my hands in the screen. So double crochet. Oops. There we go. And it is much easier for me to show you the techniques, obviously, with this bigger thread than doing it initially with the fine thread. I use a number 10 thread, and that is the thread that I currently use for all of my name doilies, which makes them fairly large. I will show you an example later on using finer thread, which was actually done by my husband's grandmother, great-grandmother. And so she made that one, and I have not attempted to use that finer thread yet. So, but I will I will kind of show you that doily that she made using that finer thread. So here's where we're going to come in, and we're going to fill in these 2 squares. So what you're going to do is, it's still just double crochet, but you're going to double crochet into the first stitch here. So you can see that I've got a stitch here, second stitch here, and then there's my double crochet. So I am going to, bear with me because I obviously did these too tight. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to double crochet into that chain, and then I'm going to double crochet into the second chain. Okay, my goodness, gravy, you'd think I was a newbie. One of the hardest things about crocheting for me to learn was to not make my work too tight. And in training some or helping some ladies learn from church, I started a group at church that we do Crafters Corner, so called Crafters Corner, and what we do is some voluntary work using our crocheting and or crafting abilities to do good for other people. So far we've made some sleep mats out of plastic yarn using recycled grocery sacks, and we are now currently, because it's bloody cold here in Iowa on January 1st, we're working on just some simple hats to donate to local shelters and really anyone in need. So that's my little plug for my church mission there. So now you can see that we've got this one already filled in. Okay, so now we're going to continue that in the next square, so I've got my double crochet into the double crochet, 2 double crochets into the chains. Okay, sorry, let me get this a little closer so you can see it a little better. And then my double crochet into the double crochet below. So we're going to do the same thing where we double crochet into our chain. Oh my goodness. Goodness. Anyway, back to that one of the hardest things for me to learn when I started crocheting was to keep my stitches loose enough that I wasn't struggling like this. Okay, so here we go, and then we're going into the top of our double crochet from below. Okay, so now you can see that we have, let me try to hold this so you can see it. We've got, we're working on our 3rd row here. We have the 3 blanks, 3 open boxes that we did, and then we have the 2 boxes that we filled in. And this will work nicely for to show you just how it looks when we do this, when it all comes out. So I'm going to do one more row quick here. Let me finish this row out. I am going to pause while I finish this row just for time's sake. Finish this row out, and then I will begin, the video will start again after I finish this row and do my 4 double crochets here at the end. So if you want to go that far, and then restart the video. Okay, so here we are. I finished that 3rd row where we did just the 2 filled in blocks in the middle, and I've finished that here, and then done my 4 double crochets for the next row. Okay, so in this next row, we are going to leave 2 empty squares. Pardon my poor camera placement. So we're going to do 2 empty squares and then fill in the 3rd. So chain, chain, double crochet into the double crochet. I mean, you can see how this is making your empty boxes full boxes. Okay, so it's really the same thing through the entire doily. So that's why this is important to get this down, because otherwise you're going to, I don't want you to get onto doing your doily, because trust me, learning from my own mistakes, I don't want you to get into your doily and lose stitches or gain stitches or have it be abnormally shaped, which you can correct in the blocking to a certain extent. But if you're going to be doing this for someone else, and you want it to, you know, or yourself, and you want it to look really nice, I want you have the foundation down, really to start. So we're going to fill in this 3rd block. So just like we did in the previous one, we are going to double crochet into the chains here, the 2 chains of the next block. Okay, so you see how I did that 1st chain. Now I'm going to go into my 2nd chain, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then into my next double crochet post. I like calling them posts. I don't know, they seem like posts. So now I am actually going to again do these 2 middle ones empty. So you're going to follow the same principle as you did when you were creating your very first row. You're going to chain 2, skip 2, sorry, skip these 2, and double crochet into the 3rd stitch from the hook, and that's going to create again your open square. So you can see how that again created your open square. So I'm going to chain 2 again, yarn over, and then insert my hook and yarn over, double crochet through that third one from the hook. So you can see we filled one in, we have 2 blanks, and then we're going to fill another square in. We're going to just be making a very simple pattern on this, as you can see in the picture below in the blog. Very simple pattern just to get you the practice on the needle with the pattern and how that's going to work when you are doing your name doily. Okay, I will also put at the bottom of this post the link to the original step-by-step that I learned from, which was super helpful. And I had never done a name doily ever. So obviously it was understandable because I had no history. I just thought a video tutorial might be nice, especially for the very beginning crocheter who does not have an exceptional amount of experience. These really are very basic crochet stitches. It's just you have to have the patience to work with that small thread and the diligence to follow the pattern that you draw out, which again, it's very simple patterning, very simple chain and double crochets for your actual work here. So I'm going to finish out this row and then refer back. So basically we are repeating the same thing over and over, either the chain 2, double crochet, or the double crochets themselves at the ends and the beginnings. Okay. So I don't want to take a ton of your time, but refer back to the rest of this video if you need to take a look at how to do things. There are also some great videos on YouTube that simply show you each individual crochet stitch. So if you really want to only work on a single crochet or a double crochet or working on your chaining, please just Google like double crochet, how to double crochet. And there are great educational videos, and that's how I learn how to do a new stitch if there's something in a pattern that I do not understand, because I'm always trying to do new patterns, and it's pretty enjoyable to come up with some of the cool stuff that that I've been proud of myself that I was able to make from a pattern, you know, that I hadn't done previously. Okay, so this is where I'm going to stop with you guys. So you can see we've got our border over here and over here. We've got our empty squares. We've got a few squares that we've filled in, and then just look at the pattern below and you will see where there's an X in a box, you do the double crochets to fill in that box. If there's nothing in the box, you leave it open with your chain 2 and then a double crochet. So if you have any questions, feel free to post a message. I will attempt to get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, I do have a page on Facebook, Yellow Lily Crafts, on Facebook that may get a quicker reply than posting on the blog, but I am attempting to be a little more in tune to all methods, including my Blogspot responses. So please message me however you'd like, and I'd be happy to either add an additional video or message you back with some additional instructions that might be helpful. Okay. All right. I will see you in part 2 for drawing out our pattern. Bye-bye.